Son, you took this loss and hurt into glory. Now, when scorned to death, you raised him up. His gains become the world's story. Let all things rise and bless your name. All things made right and new again. Oh Lord our God, your goodness is free and boundless, is reaching endless through it all. This road, with every step we take, your faithfulness is our portion. You've prepared a city bright and fair, whose gates forever stay open. Son of God, in you we've taken up the way of love's occupation. And oh, the joy to share in your reward, the stunning son of new creation. Let all things rise and bless your name. All things made right and new again. Oh Lord our God, your goodness is free and boundless, is reaching endless through it all. Just as you promised, God, your Son was raised up. In him we'll follow, in him we'll all be raised up. Just as you promised, God, your Son was raised up. In him we'll follow, in him we'll all be raised up. Oh Lord, you made yourself known. Heaven and earth forever one. All things once sown in your weakness, you raised in promise. Your beauty arches above. And oh Lord, you made yourself Oh, yes, you are. Prince of Peace, Son of God. Oh, yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're wonderful, wonderful. Oh, yes, you are. Counselor, Almighty God. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Wonderful, Jesus. Wonderful. We thank you for your love. Thank you for your love. We thank you for your love. Oh, 'cause you're Prince of Peace, the Son of God. Yes, you are. Your Counselor, Almighty God. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Oh, yes. Yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. You are wonderful, wonderful, so beautiful, wonderful. We thank you for your love. We thank you for your love. We thank you. We thank you. We love you. We love you. We thank you. We love you. We thank you. We love you. We thank you for all you've done. We say you're wonderful. You are wonderful. Jesus, you are wonderful. adore you, Lord. And I adore you. Bow before you. How I love you, Jesus, Jesus.
Hi, my name is James, and I currently live in Hemel alongside my wife Rachel and alongside my dog Piper. Currently work in Harpenden for a cleaning company, and my favourite ice cream I'd have to say is mint choc chip.
So my name's Adam Robinson. I'm married to Rachel Robinson. I've got a lovely 1-year-old daughter called Eliza Jane Robinson. I'm from Sunderland. I'm a big Sunderland fan, and I'm currently working as a primary care paramedic after spending 7.5 years with the ambulance service. That's the boring bit. Now the interesting bit is the ice cream question, because you can't get it in England. So there's two answers here. Not in England, Kinder ice cream, because it's just something about it when you're like in Spain or wherever. But in England, it's got to be mint choc chip any and every day of the week. So when me and Rachel moved to Tring, we'd left a really big, really vibrant Riverside Vineyard church in Feltham. And we were like, all right, we got recommended to St Albans Vineyard, but once we got here, it was a bit of a trek. So we ended up just looking at local churches in the area, Tring, Aylesbury, and then just couldn't find that one where we felt comfortable in, because we're really picky. Like there was a one that Rachel would love, and I'd be like, but the worship was fairly naff though. And then there'd be a one that I loved, and then Rachel was like, oh, but the preacher wasn't very good though, was it? So we ended up just having a break completely, and then just going, let's just have Sunday mornings for ourselves. We don't need church, we have church during the week. But by chance, as I said, we went to the cinema to go see Into the Spider-Verse. Great film, one of my favourites actually. And while we were at the Starbucks at the Cineworld in Hemel, there was a little sign that said carol service at Hemel Vineyard. And I said to Rachel, I was like, oh, carol service? Oh, should we go to one this year? Have a proper sing-along, proper belters. And they were like, yeah, let's do it. And then we got there, and then instantly felt really welcome, and was like, oh, this is nice. And met by James Baxter wearing a Spider-Man Christmas jumper. So instantly we're like, this could work. This could work. And it has. And that's how we got involved here, and we've been here since about 2 years-ish.
So Rachel and I got married back in March 2016. When we moved to the area, we decided to do like a church hop, go to as many churches as possible, and see which one just fitted our lifestyle. The week we went to Hemel Vineyard, and at that time they were only doing once a month, we went to one of their all-in services, so it was all crazy, kids like running around, games are being played, and actually that week they said that they were going to start doing more weekly services, which we were like, oh, this would be good. We went away, we actually stayed probably till the very end. We were chatting to a few people in the church, like couples, and just actually through those conversations we felt the most welcomed, and we walked away actually, because when you go to so many different churches in a short space of time you get the same question over and over again, and they didn't ask those questions, which we thought was great, because when you hear, oh, where do you come from, what do you do, how did you hear about us, like, it's just repetitive, and actually we got into some really good conversations in the first week. So yeah, that kind of like drew us in, and we had like I said earlier, there's a whole all-in service where the kids are running around, and actually it just felt like family. It felt something that we could get involved with, and it just felt like home. I did not grow up a Christian. I started going on to a youth group with some friends at the age of 15. They would meet up on Friday nights, and it would just be like in the church hall, loads of like games like snooker, table tennis, card games, stuff like that. And then I think it's just after I turned 16, they had started talking about a weekend away at a place called Westwatch, where they go away for a weekend, and they really drew me in with good food, games, bonfires. That weekend away, actually, there was actually a focus on a lady called Jackie Pullinger, and about her story of her going to China and battling a lot of hardships and trying to spread the word of Jesus to people. And that got me questioning, like, why did you do that? She literally gave up everything in this country to go to China, a country she didn't know the language, she didn't know like anybody there. All she went was with a Bible and the name of Jesus, and it just got me questioning things. I think the main thing that got me striving for more of Jesus was when one of the youth group leaders, he prayed for me, and he started talking about things that I hadn't like shared with anyone in my life before. Some of the difficulties that I'd faced with like bullying and depression and stuff like that. It must have been good, because again I wasn't very vocal about it, and no one really knew about it. So it was through his like support and prayer that it's like something struck something in my heart. And then after that, at that time I started working on Sunday, so I tried to shift it around so I can go to church in the evenings, and eventually after 2 years I could start going to church on a Sunday morning, which was a real nice sense of peace and belonging as well.
Well, I've got the really boring cliche story of I was brought up in a Christian home, mum and dad, went to church. I think it was more than that. I think going to church since birth, probably, and just rolling through the motions of, you just take for what your parents and your superiors say, and then end up like my family getting involved in the Sunday school, so end up knowing all the answers, and it's obviously Jesus always. And then just tootling along, nothing dramatic. Baptised when I was about 12, 13, in a paddling pool, obviously. But then just ticked along. Nothing really dramatic really happened until I was at uni. I think that's probably a time where everyone kind of looks at themselves, a bit of self-reflection. And for me, I had a sudden realisation of, is this what I actually believe though? Or is this just what I've been told to believe? And when I started thinking about it, I was like, you know what? I think that's the case. I know all the textbook answers. If you asked me to name all the books of the Bible, yeah, I'd be able to do that. Got a little song that was taught. But do I actually know the books of the Bible? Do I actually know who everyone is and the importance of Jesus in my life? And I suddenly started thinking, I don't think I do. So if I really want to call myself a Christian, I need to figure out what I believe. So I just took a bit of time just to contemplate and really make sure that was what I believed, but that's what I believed, rather than what I was told was the case. And then, like I say, it took a bit of time, and really just had a bit of a fight with myself, a fight with Jesus, and then Jesus, I feel this encounter just being of, you know what, I remain, God, not me, I remain constant. It's you that has to change. It's you that has to make the decision. And it's like, well, what do you want? And gave me a picture of a lion, and I just felt, I was like, I want a heart like David. I want to chase that, and I want to be fierce, and I want to be strong. And then from that, I think it just kind of went, yeah, I want to be strong in Christ, and that's my decision. And that's something that I've believed in since, really. So, yeah. So in terms of daily life, I see Jesus Christ as a role model. I don't go around wearing the WWJD bands. No offense to anyone that does, but not for me. But Jesus is a role model of mine, and I think I've always had the chasing of wanting to get to know God better and wanting to be closer and having that relationship. And having this, how can I say it, in day-to-day terms of selflessness is the one thing that Jesus really inspires me. It's just how much he did for other people. Sometimes he tried to escape. He jumped in his boat, tried to get to the other end of the lake, and there were people waiting for him. And instead of just going, "Oh, give us a break, man," he was like, you know what? I'll be selfless. I'll give part of myself. And I see that day to day myself. I always try and put other people first. I always try and make sure that what I want isn't necessarily at the forefront. I'm putting other people's other people first. I can do that mainly in my job and at home. Don't get me wrong, there's days obviously where I'm not as good as I'd like to be, or I think that I am, but I always look back and see Jesus as my role model in terms of that. So every day, making sure that I'm in a good place, I'm doing acts of selflessness, I think's the word properly, just as Jesus wanted me to.
Having Jesus in my life has given me a lot less anxiety. I am not a very self-confident person, so knowing who I am in God and Jesus definitely has a good impact. I was very shy and very scared to talk to people when I was growing up. So actually knowing about who I am, Jesus has affirmed that I can be myself around people. And that wasn't something I really learned until I went to uni and my relationship with God got deep. When it comes to knowing about the future, I'm not as scared. I mean, I still think about where I want to go and what I want to do, but actually knowing that it's possible with Jesus' impact on my life, he gives me a lot of peace and that reassurance, so that's where I should be going.
And in terms of looking at the future, I mean, my faith has been made stronger by a number of things, of times where I've worried or just gone, this isn't going to happen, this isn't working, I can't see past this point. But I've always had that faith that it will be okay in the end. So in terms of my future relationship and the future decisions that I make, I know that if I involve God and pray, that there's no point in worrying about the future. There's no point in worrying about something that might not even happen. As long as I focus on Jesus, focus on God, then, there's no point in worrying about the future. Let it take care of itself. Let God take care of that, just by putting my absolute faith in it.
Hi guys, it's so good to have you this morning, whether it be on Facebook or on Zoom. We are Hemel Vineyard Church, and we're just doing life together as we follow Jesus. If you want to be part of that, journey, then feel free to come and join us, whether it be on Zoom, again on Facebook next week, or drop us a line and have a conversation with us. We'd love to hear from you. Another place you can find out what's going on would be to check out our website, which is www.hemelvineyard.org.uk. I pray this week that you would know Jesus' love and his presence with you in whatever you face. See you next week. Bye.